Well, hello, and welcome once again to 25 o'clock. I'm your host, Dan Drago. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me on the show. Here we are, Philadelphia's longest-running music podcast, I think. And welcome to the end of the year. Welcome to the end of 2020. We're almost there. It's just a few more days. And, well, nothing significant changes between like those few days, between the 31st and the 1st. But, you know, I understand that that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to explain to you how time works. I'm here to bring you sort of a collection of music that came out this year, music from many, many Philadelphians. And I get to talk to a bunch of people too, people I've talked to before. I wanted to know what they liked this year, music that they were really into. So we're doing that. We're doing it that way this year. Instead of me making my own list, I decided to enlist other people to make a list. It was an enlistment list. Wow, that just, you see that coming over the plate underhand, and you still got to swing at it. Anyway, I'll talk more about what's going on today in the show in just a minute. But as always, if you're old to the show, new to the show, medium to the show, I highly recommend you check out 25o'clockpod.com. That's our website, and everything's there. All the episodes are available for streaming and for downloading, which is kind of useful for a show in a day like today, because you're going to hear from several different guests who have all been on the show throughout the time of the show. And if you want to go back and listen to a full-length interview with someone like, say, John Faye or Brian Walker or Lia Menaker, then you can do that at 25o'clockpod.com. It's all there. You can also sign up for my mailing list, my digital mailing list. Find me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and check out the Friends and Neighbors page. That's where I link anyone and everyone who's ever been on the show. So again, if you like a guest and you want to hear their music, you want to delve more deeply into what it is that they do, you can do that at the Friends and Neighbors page at 25o'clockpod.com. Do it all there. So that's how the show's kind of going to go today. I talk to a guest. We have a little chat. They tell me some songs that they like. I play one of the songs. I play one of their songs that came out too, and then we move along. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you all for listening, as always, throughout this year 2020 and for all time. I really got a lot of shows out this year, and I appreciate everyone out there who reached out to me, sent me emails, sent me messages, people who suggested guests to me, people who sent me music. All that, I really appreciated it. Who would have thought that 2020 I would put out more episodes in this year than I ever had in a previous year? But here we are. So thank you all, as always, for listening, and I hope you all have a happy, happy new year. So let's kick it off with my friend, amazing songwriter and performer. He's been around for a bit. I got to sit down in my house, and he got to sit down in his house. I got to talk to John Faye. John Faye was in bands like the Caulfields and Ike, the John Faye Power Trip, John and Brittany. He's been in all kinds of projects. Great writer, great singer, great performer. And so we talked. It was good to catch up with him. So let's listen to it here. Let's listen to John Faye and hear the things that he liked, the music he liked of this year, here on 25 O'Clock. How's the book coming?
I'm actually at the light at the end of the tunnel phase. I began working on what I believe is the final chapter of the book this week. And so I think I'm probably about 10 pages away from being done, the principal writing. And then, of course, I go back to the beginning and read it all the way through and get an editor and have it chopped up again. And, and we'll see what happens after that.
And there is no like hardest part of a book to be like, well, you did the hardest part, because for some people, the preliminary writing is the easy part and the editing is the hard part. For some people, the preliminary writing is the hard part and the editing is the easy part. But
well, against all the advice I've heard, I've actually been editing as I go myself. You know, everybody says, just get it out. Just get it all out. I can't do that. It's, I just can't do
It's
it
like,
that way.
for me, I'd be the same way. I'm like, you don't want unadulterated me
Yeah,
on
right.
the
It's
page.
too much
Like
blather.
why do you think I edit all my own podcasts?
Right. You and I have similar issues of control, perhaps. I had read somewhere that Frank McCourt had like Angela's Ashes was basically published as was, as submitted. That's my goal. I'm going to do my best to come as close to as is as I can get.
There we go. There we go. It'll have the same emotional response to your book as I have to Angela's Ashes.
That's a lofty goal, but
I saw the new single came out from the Caulfields. You got the old band back together.
got back together. It's a new version of the old band. Three of the four of us who were together in the '90s have reunited, and we brought Brett Talley, who was actually played guitar with me in Ike in the second phase of that band, coming to my rescue yet again. And so this year, 2020. I mean, of course, we all started out so optimistically, but it's the 25th anniversary of our first album. So we really wanted to do, some cool things this year. We had a bunch of shows lined up. They all got canceled one by one, kicked down the road.
I was about to say they all got moved 3 times before they got canceled. Finally.
Well, and then we had like some live streams set up that also got canceled because of, like the city of Philadelphia, like that week, banned all gatherings indoors, even if it was a private function for things. And so we were like, so what ended up happening is, we got an opportunity actually to do a live stream in Westchester last night, which was cool. And that worked out well. But one of the things that we did in light of not being able to play shows was decide to go into the studio and record a little bit. So that's where our new single came from.
It's a cover of Captain and Tennille song, which Love Will Keep Us Together, which it's always right now, like I'm kind of like really grateful that that's the kind of thing that people are putting out here and there. It's like, good. I'm like, don't give me anything too crazy new to digest right now. Like just.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of went through that whole, process of, is it even appropriate to put music out? Because originally, we had finished the song in the early part of the fall, and then we, played it for some people who kind of really encouraged us to, put it out in a way that's not just like, here's our new song, like actually try to get something going with it. And that's where kind of like the charity aspect of it came in. It's all for Philabundance, not like otherwise, it would have just been a big 25th anniversary money grab.
Yes, the gigantic Caulfields money grab.
Exactly. So rather than dividing whatever the song makes by 4, you just give it to an organization. It seems just so much more valuable in that way, I think. So,
and I think people are so much more charitably oriented these days, not just now in the holiday season, but before, like just this whole year with everything going on, that like it's a good move. Yeah.
I basically I did a lot of I haven't actually worked a proper money making job since June, when my last term at Drexel ended. I was teaching there, and I normally don't teach the summer and fall anyway, so I knew I would not be really working. But that's when I started to get into live streaming, which I had never done before in my life, and kind of got into it. I've done, I'm not one of those people that gets on like, every night. There are some people that are like, here's my nightly live stream. But, I've done probably like 15 between March and present. And I ended up like giving away probably over half of everything that came in to various things. It's been a nice opportunity for me to be able to like, support some causes, like obviously like hospitality workers and just other musicians who I knew were struggling and putting out new music. And, it was nice to be able to kind of like spread it around a little bit.
Yeah, I liked those shows a lot. I checked in here and there as they were happening. I like that you themed them all too. Like you really did make a show out of it, which is something that like I think the good live streamers, or as you said, those of us who had no idea how to use this technology at all, suddenly had it thrust upon us, and people being like, "Well, this is your option," and you did the thing that you do well, which was regardless of the medium, you was like, well, let's make a show out of this, and there you have it.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. It was well, the theme thing was necessary because like I couldn't fathom like going on once a week and playing, you know, variations on the same 12 John Faye songs. You know, and it was actually you know, it served a lot of purposes for me. It was like something to look forward to. It was a challenge because, you know, a lot of the songs I knew to a degree, but never having performed the vast majority of them in front of a phone screen while live on the internet, you know. So there was that little element of pressure, like, you know, getting your homework done in a sense, you know. So that was a cool aspect of it.
You were one of a handful too that as I saw them, I was like, oh, good. I was like, he actually would know what to do in this situation, because it is very interesting to perform to like a tiny box or to perform to a screen. And sometimes you can see people or you can see the chat or whatever, but it's, you know, you and I both know there's absolutely no substitute for a live audience.
Right. There isn't. But I strangely adapted to it and felt fairly comfortable with it kind of quickly. And I think it's because I've spent so much time in my life just talking to myself anyway. So it's like
it's good. It's good preparation.
Like a little, you know, in my brain, it's a concert and everybody's here and whatever.
Well, because you've played solo enough too that like, and I do this too. Whenever I would prepare for solo, I would sit like in a chair with a mic in front of me, even if I wasn't singing into the mic. I just wanted to get the feel, and I would kind of like as I went between songs, I'd kind of banter, or I sort of like practice. Well, here's what I'm going to say about this song, or like, here's how I'm going to segue this too. So yeah, no, you and I being people who could clearly entertain ourselves by ourselves forever.
I don't need no stinking audience, Dan. I can do this by myself in my room, and I'm fine.
I definitely want to feature that new Caulfield single, but I wanted to know if there was any particular song this year from a Philly artist that really jumped out to you, something you heard and you were like, this is just fantastic.
Yeah, when you asked me this in the email, it was a tough choice because there was a lot of music that I really liked this year. But there was one song that came out. It's Pictures by Erin Fox, who Erin is someone who I have known of her for many years, and I really just met her in person last year. It was at some, you know, So Far Sounds concert in somebody's backyard in Northern Liberties or whatever, and she was playing, and I, you know, introduced myself, and you know, I've known her fiance Jace for a lot of years from All Right Jr., but had never met her. And, you know, it turned out we had a lot of common acquaintances and we just became fast friends. And I started to really kind of get into her music, you know, her solo stuff and with Resilient. But this song, Pictures, that she put out, I guess it was sometime this fall, it just really grabbed me because it's, I don't know, it's kind of like this, almost like a James Bond kind of chord progression, you know, it just has like a certain kind of like mystery to it that I was really taken by. So that's my choice.
That's a great choice. Like you, I've known who Erin is for a long time, and I know who her fiance Jace is as well. But I don't know if I've ever met either of them. But I've certainly been familiar with her as an artist. So this would be a great song to feature and sort of a kick into my butt to get more familiar with her, and maybe even try and get her on the show in 2021.
I highly recommend that you do. There's something about the way, like, and I've said this to her like so many times, it's probably annoying to her, but like her chord progressions are super cool. You know, like very, very you know, like, oh, I wouldn't have thought to go to that change, or, you know, it's just, there's always something like interesting to the ear with how she writes her music. So it's a cool thing.
Let's listen to Pictures by Erin Fox here, man. Thanks so much for talking, and I hope your 2021 is looking up.
Right on. Same to you, Dan.
us together. Think of me, babe, whenever some sweet talking girl comes along, singing a song. Don't mess around, you just gotta be strong. Just stop, 'cause I really love you. Stop, I've been thinking of you. Look in your heart and let love keep us together. You belong to me now. Ain't gonna set you free now. When those girls start hanging around, talking me down, here with your heart and you won't hear a sound. Just stop, 'cause I really love you. Stop, I've been thinking of you. Look in your heart and let love keep us together. Whatever. Young and beautiful, someday your looks will be gone. When the others turn you off, who'll be turning you on? I will, I will, I will, I will be there to share forever. Love will keep us together. I said it before and I'll say it again. But love is pretend. I need you now and I need you then. You better stop, 'cause I really love you. Stop, I've been thinking of you. Look in your heart and let love keep us together. Whatever. I will, I will, I will, I will. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. 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 I will, I will, I will, I will.
The Caulfields right there with their cover of Love Will Keep Us Together. And before that, you heard Erin Fox with a song called Pictures. Great tune. Great tune. It was great to talk to John Faye. I should have said at the top, the book that he is writing, the book that he is working on, is sort of a not an autobiography, but a series of memoirs of his fascinating life in the music world. For those who know John, know that that's going to be a very cool book to read. And for those of you who maybe don't know John, or this is your first introduction to John, it's going to be a really great book to read. I really, really look forward to it. So thank you so much, John Faye, for giving me the time and putting some music in front of us. We're going to move on to another guest. This is someone I had on this year. Have not actually met her in person yet, which is the case of a lot of people that I talked to this year. But I talked to Lia Menaker, a phenomenal songwriter, teacher. She's done quite well on the music Twitch streams as well throughout the year, which seems to be sort of a common topic that comes up with a lot of guests as we all figure out how to exist virtually, since we can no longer exist physically. No, we exist physically, but we can't go out, play shows, do all the usual stuff we used to do. So it's a common thread that comes up with a lot of guests. But it was great to talk to Lia, obviously the first time that I talked to her this year, and it was great to get back on with her again, catch up, see what she's been working on. So let's do that. Let's talk to Lia Menaker here on the year-end 2020 25 o'clock musical roundup. Let's talk to Lia. I've actually been following your saga with the dog that you have, and like helping it to walk and all that.
Yeah.
I've been like following that like a television show a little bit. I always look and I was like, what's up with the dog? How's the dog doing? And then like I was watching your partner like walk the dog, and I was just like, man, she's walking so much better than she was before. Yay.
Yeah, I guess it just kind of happened. I'm like, I guess I'm sharing the progress. I find it it's really amazing when you stop and you look back at like you've seen this dog rehabilitate. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. What was wrong? What was wrong with her or him? I don't recall the gender of the dog.
She had an embolism. So one day she was outside like burying a bone, and I guess Joe caught her off guard, my partner, and she kind of jumped back and then just fell, and her whole right side she couldn't lift up or anything. So they said it's just a waiting game. Sometime, most of the time they regain like a lot of it back, but not always. And she's kind of older, so
yeah. I'm in for the drama, like of the dog, like one of those like stories of like someone coming back, like the movie of someone coming back from an injury, and then like the dog goes to the dog Olympics or something like that and wins a gold dog medal.
That would be the ultimate end. Yeah.
That's how this is gonna go.
And yeah, those videos get like more attention than anything else I post.
It's because it's a dog and it's an uplifting saga in these times.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Like, I don't know. Maybe you could involve the dog with the music side as well. Like, I don't know how one would do that, but you know,
anything with animals. Do you ever notice like commercials with cars? They just have a bunch of puppies in the background. It has nothing to do with the car, but it's just like cheap. It's like a cheap trick because you're like, oh my God, the puppy. So you watch the whole thing intently.
Yeah. It's like open the back of the car and like 5 dogs come out and you're just like, all right, I'm in. What's up with those 5 dogs?
Throw some puppies in the back of a music video. Call it a day.
It works. It works. People like cats doing funny things. People like pandas sneezing. Like, you know, they're just... Yeah, these are all things, and now that we've all gone into our homes and consume things on screen so much more than we used to, like all it takes is just like one little animal video, and there we are. So the last time we talked, you had the EP out that came out in the spring, and you're still doing the Twitch stream, right?
Yeah, I took a little bit of a break just because I think with COVID everyone was kind of struggling with motivation or this and that and balance, but now I am back every Wednesday on there.
And you're doing a lot of cool things with that too. You're live looping and like kind of talking people through the process too, which is always an interesting thing. Not a lot of artists want to talk about their process. They think it's like some carefully guarded secret, but you're just out there being like, nah, here's how we do it. This is it.
Yeah. And I do that even more on my Patreon. Some of it is just like, when you're trying to put out so much content, you're like, okay, I can't keep writing songs like that much. Like I need more things to share. And then you think, well, the people that really care the most want to see that stuff. So it was actually fun. The release that's coming out in January was a product of being like, let's share the songwriting process. I chose something to start, and then it ended up being a cool song, and now it's being released. So
it's always interesting how that works. You can use these various exercises and stuff like that, and sometimes you forget that like the point of the exercise is to get a final thing, and you get kind of surprised, like, oh, I made a thing. Oh, wait, that's what I was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And with every one of them, I always feel like, as corny as it sounds, I learn so much. Like even if it's like for them. I'm like, oh wow, that's how my songwriting process works. I've never had to like sit down and talk about it before, so it's cool.
Yeah, and sometimes when you go to explain it, you're just like, wow, I guess I don't have any idea how it works at all.
Yeah, that's like half of it. Yep.
So I'm excited for the song coming out. That comes out January 7th, right? Which isn't too long from now.
I'm really excited for it. It's a little different. My last album was so like heavy and intense that I wanted something kind of fun, and so it's sort of nonsensical. It's definitely groovy. It's a little bit whimsical. Like it's still chill like my normal style, but it's fun. It's a little different. Yeah.
Less with the heavy darkness.
Mm-hmm. It's more like what the F kind of bubble are we in right now? It's called Bubble. And it's sort of like, it's a mix of what are we in right now? And also like, I just want to be in a little bubble and like protect myself from all this crazy stuff. It's like a mix of bubble in any kind of weird bubble sense you could think of. And also doesn't make sense kind of too, because none of this all makes sense.
So from stuff you've been listening to this year, like what's a Philly artist that's really jumped out at you? I know it's hard to pick one thing at the end of the year, which is why I'm not picking things. I'm making other people pick things. Especially
since there's been all these like lists coming out and I'm like, ooh, this is a new person I like that I didn't know I liked. But I really have been digging Sophie Coran. I think I'm saying her last name.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've interviewed her on the podcast.
I have.
But I just love her style. And she had a single come out, at least one, maybe, I think two actually. But I really liked Circles. That was a cool song.
Yeah. She had put that out. I had her on a year or two back. And then I had her partner Michael, who's a producer. I had him on as well. So which is the song that really jumped out to you this year?
Oh, from her, it was Circles was the name of it. Yeah. She had two versions.
I think I played the original version back on some playlist episode, probably at the beginning of this when I was like trying to make my own radio shows and then realizing that I was not going to make my own radio shows anymore.
Same wavelength, though, that you dug it too.
Well, it's great. Well, I'm definitely going to play. I will play the Sophie tune. I'll play the new version too, which I don't think I've even heard yet. I know it exists, but I don't think I've listened to it yet. So when this is done, I will have listened to it.
Yeah, I think it's just her and violin.
And then we want to play something from. You want to play something from the EP from earlier this year from I Am Kairos.
It's hard to choose, but I would have to say, All My Life. I think that could get some more love. I think that song will speak to some people. Yeah.
So that's out there. That's available. And you've got a new single coming out in January. And more stuff, I imagine, coming in 2021.
I'm going balls to the wall in 2021. I want to release 6 to 8 singles at least. I want to collab with as many people as possible. I'm leaning into COVID right now and saying, you know what? Just write, release. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe in the latter half of the year, we might even see live performance. That'll be fun.
Yes, for sure.
What does that even look like? What does that even look like now?
Oh my God, it's gonna feel like, I don't know, so extra special, right? Like when you haven't eaten in forever and you eat, and it's like whatever. It doesn't even matter what you're eating. It's just the best tasting thing ever. Like
yeah. I've also joked too. I said at first it's going to feel really weird and maybe wrong. Like you're going to see people everywhere and you're like, no, get away from me. Oh, wait, no, it's fine. We can do that.
Yeah. Have you had the instance yet where you're watching TV or Netflix or something and you're like, why are they so close together? And you're like, oh, wait, that's a TV show. I think maybe I'm the only one who's had that experience. But
I occasionally do that. It's mostly when I'm out in the world and I see people doing stuff and I'm like, why are they doing that? And then in my head, I'm being like, whatever, let them do it. Where I'm just like, what am I going to do? Correct literally everything I see out there in the world. Like someone will punch me in the face or I will exhaust myself or probably a combination of both.
It sounds like a disease. Correction fatigue.
Yeah. Well, Lia, this is great. I'm excited for next year for you. And you really got a lot done this year. You really did a whole lot of stuff. So you should, if you have not patted yourself on the back for this year, I think you should. It's a hard year to get anything done. But also a year where we had a little more time or we had to sort of rethink how we did things. So you're one of the ones who came out of it, I think, better than perhaps if the year had been normal.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Sometimes you forget. So it's nice to hear someone say that.
Well, this is great. Well, we're going to play these songs and a happy new year to you.
Awesome. Thank you. To you too.
Kept it in for so long, I forgot how to breathe. After all that went down, and how I wish I come clean. Lost in a little slice of hell, stuck inside your spell. Go going round and round and round. And I always miss the mark. I'm lost without your spark. Going round and round and round. Now we're swimming in circles with no place to go. Always clawing at the surface to the great unknown. Like we always try to do this silly dance, to give ourselves a chance to catch a breath. I'm just trying not to drown. Scared to speak the wrong word. I just wish you would say you remember how to love me, that everything is okay. Lost in a little slice of hell, stuck inside your spell. Going round and round and round. And I always miss the mark. I'm lost without your spark. Going round and round and round. Now we're swimming in circles with no place to go. Always climbing at the surface to the great unknown. Like we always try to do this silly dance, to give ourselves a chance to catch a breath. I'm just trying not to drown. Now we're swimming in circles with no place to go. Always clawing at the surface to the great unknown. Like we always try to do this silly dance, to give ourselves a chance to catch a breath. I'm just trying not to drown.
All my life
music from Lia Menaker right there, a song called All My Life from her EP, I Am Kairos, which came out this year. And before that, Lia's pick of 2020, one of her picks of 2020, a song called Circles by Sophie Coran. And if you're familiar with the show, you're probably familiar with Sophie Coran. I've had her on as a guest, and I've featured her music multiple times here throughout the show. That song, Circles, I believe I featured a version of it sometime earlier this year, but that is a newly recorded version of it with Shelby Yaman on violin. Great sounding track. Just two people in a room playing live together. You can hear it. You can hear the room in the track, and I love it. So thank you so much, Lia, for sharing your pick with us and for talking here at the end of year roundup on 25 o'clock. So moving on here in the show, I got to talk to Tara Murtha. She's an author. She wrote a great book on Bobby Gentry's Ode to Billy Joe, the album as well as the song, which I read this year at the beginning of the year, and it was a great read, and I wanted to talk to her. And she's, also married to Jesse Lundy, concert promoter, online radio guy as of late. And, I really did just want to talk to Tara, but in the end, I let Jesse talk for a little bit. I know he's been getting a lot of attention this year, and I wanted to focus it somewhere else. But, in the end, I wanted to make sure that the house situation, the domestic situation between Tara and Jesse was copacetic and maintained some amount of, calm and evenness. So threw Jesse a bone at the end. Right there, just to be a good guy. But let's talk to Tara. Let's talk to Tara Murtha here on the year-end episode of 25 o'clock.
I feel like Jesse's been getting enough spotlight, what with the Gold Watch Radio Hour and all that. I wanted to talk to someone, a proper author, someone really in the arts.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of invitations for late night shows and all that going on for him because of the Gold Watch. So I hear you.
Well, I wanted to talk to you. It's, we're getting towards year's end, and I wanted to see, what you've been listening to over the year, and also to let you know that you wrote a book that I read at the beginning of the year that I really, really enjoyed. Read it almost in one sitting. That's your book on Bobby Gentry for the 33 1/3 series.
Oh, right on. I'm glad that you dug it.
I read it on an airplane to a fun destination when one could do such things.
That sounds glorious.
I was curious, though, have you been working on anything over the year? I know you write all kinds of things, articles and stuff like that. I was curious if you've been working on anything.
I've had a few articles out. I have a full-time job and all otherwise, but I have a few music articles out this year. I got a piece up in Dangerous Minds that I was really psyched about. I got to talk to Orville Peck about Fancy, the song, the Bobby Gentry song. And I have a couple other things brewing that, are not yet ready to be discussed in the public airs.
Oh, that's great. Well, I look forward to seeing some of it out there and for searching it out. But in terms of music, too, what have you been checking out over the year? Like, what's your standout track of the year?
I'm going to say locally, I've been super digging Avataria. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's Nikki Avataria. She goes by Avataria. And it's super hits my sweet spots, I'm a PJ Harvey, Kristen Hirsch kind of girl, And she does, it's this grown-ass woman playing power riffs, just real, raw intelligence and power. So I'd say the track Easy off her EP that just came out in October called Head Over Heels is the track I've been listening to the most.
That's great. Well, I definitely want to include that in the episode, so we're definitely going to hear that. That's cool. I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with them at all, and that's the thing that I love about doing this is that I get even here we are at the end of 2020, when we think we've lived through and seen it all, and I'm still getting turned on to new music, which is great. So thank you so much for offering that track up to us.
Right on. It's a time to count our blessings. So great to chat with you about it.
Now you do you suppose I do feel bad that I've called you and Jesse is, I don't know, sulking in the corner or something right now. I feel like we should include him. Do you think we should include him in this as sort of a consolation prize?
It's part of the terms of my contract. I have to include him in fun things. Let me give you over to Jesse then. Babe, stop crying. He wants you back.
Yeah, happy anniversary to you too. Oh, hi Daniel. How are you?
Oh, hey, man. We figured since you were in the room and you're involved in the music industry somehow. I mean, not lately, but somehow.
Previously involved.
No, man, this is great. I definitely want to hear what you've been up to. You and I have talked back and forth over this year.
Sure.
And you started an online radio show, the Gold Watch Radio Hour, which has been, at least for me, in my weekly tasks, sort of a huge part of something that I listen to. Just kind of. The playlists are great. Your banter and bits and guests are great, and it's just a great thing to have on when I'm working. So,
well, thanks, man. Certainly.
Yeah, thank you for entertaining me.
Absolutely, man. Certainly, 25 o'clock, and my buddy Brendan's radio show, also on Mixcloud, are inspirations for that. Figured I can't make a mixtape for my friends. I could do this, right?
It is remarkable how we've all kind of figured out all these different outlets and things and various tools that were there all along.
Yes.
That, guys like you and me who finally got out from under our rock and figured out how to engage with the world digitally now.
Right. Well, it's a great way to it's a great way to hear your friends' voices. So many people, you see them on Facebook or whatever, is not exactly the same thing as communicating. And so it's fun to check in with people this way.
And you've been doing some artist and industry mentoring too, I know, a lot over this time as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the spring, my friend Mary Krause reminded me that the 25 years in the music business is not just it doesn't just qualify me to be a delivery guy for Pizza Hut. And so I've been psyched to have the opportunity to talk to so many, people that a lot of people I know anyway, but it's ask a question, you know what I mean? And so people have been patronizing me there, which I think is great. Paul Wilkinson from 400 Bears, and Jake Harless and I talked, John Galla and I talked, Jim Dragoni and I talked, KT Feeney, a lot of good people, you know what I mean? And plus it gives me an opportunity to hear what they're doing. It's send me the music, let me hear it. What might otherwise be overlooked is then heard.
You wouldn't have had the opportunity to really spend this time with these artists, or at least not in this way, under our usual day-to-day lives, the bustling around, getting shows together, doing all the business end that you do. You don't always get the time to sit down with artists and just be like, well, what are you working on? And how can I help you get this in front of more people, or think about it differently, or just have a more successful career? We don't always have that chance to do that because we're always kind of running around thinking about something else.
I used to take my meetings at 9 o'clock in the morning. I used to say, you take me to breakfast and we'll sit down and talk. Now I can do it during the day, which is great. Very happy.
Yeah. Well, what have you been listening to this year? I know, aside from these artists who are bringing you music, and I know you're just a well-listened guy like me and listen to music all the time. But for Philly artists, who's been knocking your socks off this year?
Yeah, truthfully, a lot of what I listened to this year comes from your show. So, I'll go and actually listen to the people that are interviewed in there. Some of them are people I know, like I said, but a lot of it, it's cool, I'll go check that out. But, I'm psyched for Riverby and the Tisburys. I love that group of people because I'm a Dawson Street pub guy. Obviously, Ross Belenois, Greg Sover, Barney Cortez, the Caulfields track that came out last week, Love Will Keep Us Together, is great. James Pace has been releasing a lot of good music, and James knows that I'm a guitar geek, so he pushes all my buttons there, you know. But I think if I was going to pick something, I'm gonna give you an exclusive, Daniel. Do you think you can? Do you think you can? You know, really appreciate the gravity of me giving you an exclusive?
I think I can. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I can handle it.
All right. So my band, Hannah Taylor and the Ricardo Lee Trio, we went in the studio. It must be 2.5 years ago already, and recorded a bunch of tunes. None of them are original songs, but we did some the Harry Smith anthology of folk music. So these are public songs at this point that anybody can take advantage of. So I'm going to send you Cassie Jones, which is our sort of tour de force show opener, a super zepped up version of what was once a folk song. So that's Cassie Jones.
That's great. You know what? I never really did get a chance to see you guys play much in the before times. And that's because you and I didn't really meet till about a year ago. In fact, it's almost a year ago right now that I had you over and like we talked for the first time. So I am really, really psyched to hear this track. And you know, in the new year, once we can get out there and get together and do stuff again, I was saying to John Faye when I was on the phone with him that you were the first person in a while that actually like kicked my ass enough to like go out and see stuff again.
Nice. Yeah, well, you know, look, I mean, when you live it 24 hours a day, hopefully that qualifies you to be able to say, no, this is actually something really good, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit of
Awesome.
credibility.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the track. I'm glad you guys are doing okay. We'll get through this. We'll get through this to the other side. You, me, a whole bunch of other people will all, you know, meet out somewhere, maybe Ardmore Music Hall or what have you, and like sort of reacquaint ourselves with other human beings.
I'll be excited to drink a draft beer. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to. See you, my friends, having a draft beer. Yeah.
That's right. Awesome. Jesse, thanks so much. Tell Tara I said thanks.
I'll see you on the flip, Daniel.
Early one morning it was showering rain. Round the curve come a passenger train. Under the wheel it was Hobo John. He wasn't a hobo, but he was dead and gone, dead and gone. He wasn't no hobo.
That's a track called Easy right there from Avataria. That's Tara Murtha's pick for 2020. And before that, you heard Cassie Jones by Hannah Lee and the Ricardo Lee Trio. That was Jesse Lundy's pick. Great to talk to both of them, and you can check out Jesse's radio show on Mixcloud, the Gold Watch Radio Hour. It's a great show every week, really great playlists, and it helps get me through. I'm a little behind right now, but I look forward to catching up on the Gold Watch Radio Hour. All right, got one more guest here for the year-end 2020 episode. Last and certainly not least, those of you who know me, who've listened to the show consistently for a bit, you know that I am quite taken with the musician Brian Walker, who plays under the name A Day Without Love. And that man has got to be one of the hardest working people in the Philly DIY world. Puts out tons and tons of releases, guests with other people. He has a podcast out called Dreams Not Memes that he's just put out a ton of episodes on, talking to all different sorts of people. It's great. He is a great maker of content and a great songwriter and a great human being as well. So I felt it would be totally fitting to sort of round out the year-end episode with a little check-in with Brian Walker. So let's do that. Let's talk to Brian here on 25 O'Clock.
Brian, thanks for taking the time, man. Thanks for being part of this year-end extravaganza that I just dreamed up like not too long ago.
Anytime. I'm glad to come back and be part of your podcast as always.
You had me on earlier in this year on your Dreams Not Memes podcast, which was a great time. I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed listening back to it too. I don't always enjoy listening back to myself, but I enjoyed this one.
Thank you. I definitely hear that.
Yeah. And what are you on right now with Dreams Not Memes? You're like over 200 episodes right now, right?
Yeah. As we're talking, I'm publishing episode 206, and I have almost 215 episodes, so 205 stay alive. And I'm going to keep going until till December 21st. And then take a break till January 5th because, one, it's the holidays, and who wants to talk about their job or like what they do during the holidays? So I'm going to take like a week and a half break, and then just get back to it. So
a week and a half break to you has got to feel like forever.
It does, because I don't usually take too many breaks.
No, you don't.
Yeah, but when I do, I definitely make sure to enjoy.
Well, the show is great, man. You've reached out to so many people, like all over the country and out of the country too, right? Am I correct in that you've gotten a couple of international guests as well? Yeah,
as we're speaking, I'm covering most of Canada, but I'm also starting to get Europe a little bit. Like even though this will be out later, I'm talking to people from Finland scheduled. Pakistan, working on a few Asia interviews, but the goal, now that the U.S. goal has been accomplished, I'm trying to get everyone on this hemisphere first, just for the sake of scheduling and timing, because take, for example, the Finland interview, that's a 7-hour, distance, so I just don't want to be in a place where, I'm up at 5 in the morning, welcome to Dreams Not Memes. You know what I mean? And then the other person's it's 5 p.m. my time. So I definitely want to just make sure I get all the time zone friendly people. I'm going to start getting to the Caribbean next year, Mexico, South America. And then once that's done, I have that side of the world, I'm going to start doing more people in Africa, Asia, Europe, things like that.
I would entrust this to very few people, and you would be one of them.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun. I never let it get too much of me because I interview probably 3 to 5 people a week, Wednesday through Saturday, because I look at it and it usually ends up just being Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because a lot of people don't want to do anything on their Saturday. So the rest of the week I'm, working on myself professionally, working on myself musically. And I mean, granted, I know I do a lot, but I just try to take it one chunk at a time.
And speaking of musically too, you had told me when we were emailing back and forth on this, you had reminded me you'd put out 13 or more releases in 2020.
That's correct. Yeah, I did 13 releases.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm completely aware. Two of them were live records, and the rest were either singles, EPs, like split EPs, or the compilation Mega John. So
yeah. I was glad that you put that out too, because you've put out so many collaborations with so many people in Philadelphia, and a lot of these people have been on the show too. Like I didn't realize you'd done a collaboration with Juliet Eve from Bad Sleeper until I was kind of rolling through the Bandcamp this afternoon just to see what was going on. But she's a great singer and a great writer as well. I'm glad you kind of got this all in one place, because sometimes it can be hard to kind of keep track of an artist that releases a whole series of singles. And if you think about it, that's the origin of the record album, is taking a whole bunch of singles that you've released over a period of time and then just lumping them together in one place and being like, here you go.
Yeah, and that was exactly the intent. I mean, and I would say every one of the relationships I built were unique. I would say Juliet's was really unique because I had been working with an EDM DJ who needed a vocalist. So that's how Juliet and I met, and we were like, let's write these lyrics and you'll sing them. And then that fell through, but then we developed this creative rapport and was like, how about we write a song? And Juliet is the background vocals and harmonies, and Good Friends Are Hard to Find. And also we did Meant to Be. So
I was excited to see everything that you've accomplished over 2020. I think a lot of us got, despite everything going on and despite, all of us feeling like this year was a bit of a wash for artists, particularly performing artists, I think a lot of people got a lot of things done, and you're definitely one of them. I feel like I'm one of them too. I'm not as a musical artist, but just as getting things done. I think it's a testament to sometimes when you've got the time to really sit and think about what you want to do. Those of us inclined to do things are going to do things one way or the other.
I completely agree. Despite the fact that there were a lot of setbacks for me in 2020, such as losing my day job later on in 2020, losing family members to COVID and not to COVID and things like that. I've dealt with a lot of grief and trauma in years past. And I think 2020 gave me more time to be able to grieve and process, because I've definitely gotten more spiritual with myself, with God, as well as yoga. Try to turn a negative to a positive, and not in a toxic positivity way where so people on social media will get really annoying and say it's okay, be happy, you got this, without ever empathizing with someone. But I try to really think about how can I let my creativity go and still be productive. For example, I would definitely call it a throwaway record. I can't even remember the title of the record, to be honest with you.
Did you put it out?
Yeah, I put it out. I can't remember the name of the record. Actually, hold on. Let me look it up on my Bandcamp.
Okay. I say you put out a handful.
Yeah, I made this record called Corona Was My First Beer, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that is a complete throwaway record because it was a challenge for me to see, can I write a rap record in a week? Because, it was kind of like me making fun of SoundCloud rappers and also just seeing if I could do it. Because if you listen to a lot of rap interviews, Little Bolt, Little Nut Job, Little Hammer, whatever their name is, I made up all those names. If those are real rappers, then, they always say, I did this in a day, first take, da-da-da-da-da. So it's all right, let me figure out, how is this done so quickly? Because, there is, a method to madness of how to make a record efficient, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, certainly.
But I decided to call it Corona Was My First Beer because coronavirus, and Corona really was my first beer. So, that's what I mean by I just let my creativity go. But some projects I became a lot more proud of, Comfort in the Bedroom. And that turned to, a lot of listens on Spotify, a lot of just, support from other people. And it became something that, was my way of saying to the world, I'm not just going to do collaborations. I'm not just going to do rock music. I'm going to be a multi-genre person, because I always have been, but I wasn't willing to be loud about it.
No, it's always remarkable not only the amount of things that you come out with, but the fact that you're just willing to try things and you're willing to put it out there. Not not like completely unadulterated. Like you definitely, you edit and you refine the things that you put out there. But there is something to be said to like looking at something, finishing it and be like, well, this is finished. Like good, bad, I'm not sure, but it's done. So, let's put it out there.
Yeah, and like my philosophy has always been don't care about quality or quantity, care about getting better, because like there's pros and cons that we could go on about forever on both sides. I do throw away ideas. People don't realize that, but there's a lot of ideas I've thrown away, like a lot. But at the same time, I just always think, is this better than the last thing I released? And if the answer is yes, then it's worth dropping. So
I think that's a really, really great attitude for any creative person, and it's definitely served you well in the years preceding as well as this year.
Thank you.
So, of all 2020, you and I have listened to a ton of music this year and a ton of music from Philadelphia. Is there any track in particular that stands out to you that came out this year that you would want everyone to know about?
I'm going to say Marcelin's record was pretty great, as well as Laura Liscano's record.
Yeah, both those records are outstanding. Yes, absolutely.
I felt like Laura Liscano's record was very topical to this year. And not just this year, but just millennial struggle. And it was really great to be able to like cover that for the Philadelphia Globe. I think Marcelin's record was a great like third album, pursuit of her creativity. Because like if you listen to Marcelin, or I've ever played with Marcelin's a lot more versatile than I don't know if she even realizes it, but she's an extremely versatile artist. And I felt like the third record really tied it all together. Compared to the last two records, whereas the last two records were more thematic, especially the second record, which felt like a play. Another person I'd like to give accolades to is Erin Incoherent. Her record really addressed things around, addiction, sobriety, the fragility of friendships, and why we should really hold on to the ones that we love. And I think all three of those records were things that people needed to hear, especially during a time of trauma, loss, and confusion. So those are definitely three local records that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, those are all three great choices. I'm familiar with two of them, obviously, because I've had Marcelin on a couple of times and certainly featured her music. And I had Laura on not too long ago as well. That was the first time that I had featured her music back in the spring or summer, but the first time I really sat down to talk to her was, I think, in November. And that was a great talk. Like, she really got into it on some stuff that, like, I'm not saying I was surprised, but I was like, you never know what people are going to talk about. Like when you say, I mean, you know this as well from being a podcaster, you don't know what people are going to talk about. You can do all the research you want in the world. And then someone just starts talking about something and you're just like, oh, I was not prepared for this. And this is great. Like I could never foreseen that this was a conversation that we were going to have. But I think I will feature a track from the artist that you mentioned who I was not familiar with, Erin Incoherent. Well, Brian, this is great. Thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for sharing your year with me and sharing some of your musical choices. Here's hoping that like all the work and stuff that we've not learned how to do, but like gotten better at doing over this year, we can just like transfer that into next year, man. Next year's gonna hopefully rock and roll real hard, the way that we wanted it to.
That's the goal. I mean, like, I don't feel the usual positivity that New Year's like has, like, singing all the songs and all that stuff. But
I've never felt that, but okay.
But I do believe in what you just said, like we need to carry on, the eagerness to learn, the eagerness to get better into the next year, because eventually when we're able to help each other and be there in person, a lot of that stuff that we've learned during this time will come to light. At least that's what I believe. So
yeah, and continue like the idea, like obviously as time goes on, we get new jobs, we get our old jobs back, et cetera, et cetera. Our time will start to shrink again, kind of like what we were doing in the year before. But I think a lot of us have learned the value of time right now, and we'll be able to carve out, and not even carve out, but to reprioritize what we do with our time going forward. I know I certainly will.
I haven't thought about that, but you're completely right.
Well, awesome, man. Thanks so much for talking. It's always good to talk to you.
Anytime. You as well.
I'm with it, and I'm down to kick it. Let's forget all the dumb bullshit and just get lifted. I said that I'm sorry, now are you down to party? Roll us up a split, let's flip the lid and get started, yeah. And you're climbing in my window when you leave the door locked. And you're calling me a bitch now when you're in too hot. Wait a minute, get a grip now before you get the nerve to put the pedal to the floor and make a wrong turn. No, 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 no. Said it sucks, bet you $5 fucking bucks, man. I call a chicken nugget girl and then we're gonna fuck. I said it's nice to see us laugh and think about the past, cause spring is on its way and this last winter's kicked our ass, man. Trash can. So now we're smoking in the basement, drinking Old Crow, and we tuned up the Ibanez so we could sing every song we know. Cause Bonnie didn't have to die, man, but she shut up. So said he didn't have the Narcan, but we can't trust that fuck. No, we can't trust it. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. She told us how she'd like to go and see the dope kid. We told her no, I guess she thought we all were joking. The story splits from there and Tommy found her in his bed, but by the time the paramedics came, they did all that they could, yeah. So now we're hanging up your pictures over a black sheet, and our friends are coming over, bringing enough to eat. Your things fit in 2 big boxes we sent down to New Orleans. We were reimbursed for the postage, but not for future unseen. Now I'm smoking in the basement. I'm trying to figure how I'm fucking supposed to make rent. Wondering since you died if you would change how all your time is spent. Cause I don't wanna die, I wanna change how all my time was spent.
That none of us are meant to be. We're not 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 meant to be.
Music right there from A Day Without Love with Juliet Eve of the band Bad Sleeper. It was a song called Meant to Be, a collaborative single that the two of them put out. I had Juliet on back earlier this year. With Marceline, they did a collaborative single as well, Bad Sleeper and Marceline. So it's a year of collaboration and a year of working together remotely, of course. And before that, a song by an artist, Erin Incoherent, who I was not familiar with until Brian recommended her to me. And that was a song called Of Roaches and Roommates from Erin Incoherent's album Deja Vu, which came out this year. So thank you so much, Brian Walker, for talking and throwing some tracks into the mix right there. And that's going to do it for the show. That's going to do it for 2020, for 25 o'clock. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you really for all the people who've reached out to me over the year, who've sent me guests, who sent me music, who've just sent feedback or just let me know that you're out there listening. It's always good to hear from you. And I look forward to doing more episodes in 2021. Got all kinds of things planned, all sorts of fun stuff. Coming up on 2021 will be in the fall. It'll be 7 years of doing this show. So as always, would not be nearly as enjoyable to do if not for all of you. So that's going to do it. Thanks so much for listening to the year-end 2020 roundup episode here at 25 o'clock. My name is Dan Drago. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone have a happy new year.